as the Chicago Bears fall to 1-1, losing to the Houston Texans 19-13. We are here on the Sports Cubicle on Sports from the Couch. I'm your host, Mike Mercado. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. And it was a frustrating one, to say the least. It was a long night, to say the least, if you were a Bears fan, if you were Caleb Williams, if you were anybody having any sort of rooting interest for Chicago, and quite honestly, for any type of offensive football, because two defenses showed out and balled out tonight. And I think we have to just kind of hit on everything we saw on Sunday night, heading into Monday morning, heading into now week 3, and just the big picture stuff. And we're going to go through some numbers. We're going to go through some of the pitfalls, some of the good, mostly bad of what we saw, but big picture stuff. The bulletin points, the stuff that I feel is going to matter, the stuff that does matter, at least to me, from what I saw on Sunday night. And that is, once again, the Chicago Bears can't protect their quarterback. Their offensive line cannot protect a quarterback. And Caleb Williams, the entire game, and we're going to get into what mistakes Caleb did, because there were plenty of those. But just off Jump Street, just as a baseline, you can't run an offense. You can't expect a rookie quarterback to succeed when he is being rushed over 30 times on 46 dropbacks. When he gets sacked 7 times, that's not including all the times he got blown up when he actually got the ball off. In this game, we saw that the Chicago Bears started the game, their game plan, their entire offense was going to be quick, quick, quick. Get the ball, throw it. Get the ball, throw it. Try to establish the run, which they can't do right now. And Houston, DeMeco Ryan, shout out to that entire defense, because that's a good defense. That's a good coach. That's a good team. They figured that out early. And by the time we got into the end of the second quarter, into the second half, that was done for. And they were sending the house. It wasn't just Will Anderson. It was the entire defense getting a piece of Caleb Williams. And look, I think there's a lot of things that go into games like this, right? I still think this wasn't as bad as what Matt Nagy did to Justin Fields in that Cleveland game, because whatever you may say about this game plan, Shane Waldron, Caleb Williams, the offensive line, this is tailored to Caleb. They never tried to help Justin in that game. That was all for Andy Dalton and for other quarterbacks, right? That was never for Justin, especially that game. But Caleb Williams had his welcome to the NFL moment against the Houston Texans. It wasn't against the Titans. It was against Houston, because they made sure that he felt every single one of their pressures. Even when they didn't get to him, the amount of times he was rushed, he was hurried, he had to escape from the pocket. I think Collinsworth even brought up a point of he was scrambling. There was a play he was scrambling late in the game, and he got out of it, got out of the first 2 sacks, right? And in college, you're going to be able to make that a plus 40 for your team. In the NFL, that play closes down because everybody is the best athlete. There is no schlub. Even the worst defenses, so the windows close faster. So the offensive line got him killed. And it wasn't just one player, like we're just going to pick on. It was Braxton Jones. It was Tevin Jenkins. It was Coleman Shelton. It was Nate Davis. It was Darnell Wright. It was all of them. These teams showed their deficiencies and showed what strengths they may have. You know, I want to also bring this up. Look at this. Because penalties are the only reason this score is 19-13. The Houston Texans had 12 penalties for 115 yards. They bailed out that offensive line and Caleb Williams. They bailed out DeAndre Swift and Cole Kmet. They bailed them out. The Bears had 9 penalties for 60 yards. The Houston Texans' biggest deficiency is going to be that they're undisciplined. And I think DeMeco Ryan's going to get that right, because talent-wise, they have it all. We'll see what happens with Joe Mixon, but talent-wise, they have it all. and they exposed the biggest weakness to the Chicago Bears, which is their offensive line. And then what I believe is their second biggest weakness is scheme. Very horizontal, not enough vertical. Now, the chicken and the egg of it, right? Can you do that type of offense if your offensive line can't block anybody? Or you can't establish the run because they can't establish the run. 71 rushing yards, again, for the Chicago Bears. Their leading rusher, I think, was Caleb. We can actually just look it up right now. Their leading rusher was Caleb Williams with 44 yards. You have DeAndre Swift with 18 on 14 carries. There's no explosiveness. And this scheme was supposed to be utilizing what makes Caleb great. Now, all this being said, we have to put the caveat that he's still a rookie. But the guy he was up against, across from the field from him, is only a second-year player. We're seeing rookies, we're seeing second-year players, third-year players, taking teams to playoffs and making playoff runs. That is why there is this expectation and pressure on Caleb Williams. So if you know all that, scheming it as a coach like Shane Waldron should be doing, being brought in, mind you, Matt Eberflus, as much as we love the glow up with the beard and the clothes and the defense rallies around him, seems like a nice enough guy, still on the hot seat. So you bring in this offensive coordinator who had weapons in Seattle, but didn't quite utilize them all the right way. This was stuff we were saying heading into this season. Even the most optimistic of pundits or fans or broadcasters or journalists, this was stuff that we were bringing up anyway, good or bad, wherever we fell on the side of the fence. And you are not scheming to benefit Caleb Williams. And having Keenan Allen in this game was not going to fix that. So my question is the third thing. So you can't protect him on the offensive side because of your bad offensive line. You're not scheming to get the best out of him by maybe doing a max protect and being very horizontal, not vertical. Well, then the third thing is, who put this offensive line together? Who put this coaching staff together? It goes to Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles did a lot of great stuff this offseason, has done some chess maneuver stuff. I am not calling for anybody's head. It is week 2. You talk about overreaction. We are just reacting to what we saw and what we've seen the last 2 weeks. Ryan Poles has been getting a pass when it comes to the offensive line because he's an offensive lineman. That he would be able to scout it. He'll be able to find it. He'll be able to develop and put something together. They have not done that. They have not. Darnell Wright can be really good. We'll find out right over the years. Nate Davis plays when he wants to. That just is what it is. You haven't had a good center in years. Like, I'll say it since Olin, at least off top of mind. Braxton Jones has way over-delivered and underperformed both at the same time. See, that's the thing, right? It's great that you have done all these moves, including bringing in Gerald Everett and DeAndre Swift and Keenan Allen. You got to get the ball to them. And if you can't put the roster together to do that, then you're setting yourself up for failure while smoking all that hopium. Again, only week 2 and you're 1-1. And the Colts coming up are a win. Anthony Richardson will give you the ball. He's a stud. He's a freak. He will frustrate you. He will do things that make the defense look inept, even though this is a top-tier defense. And we'll get to them in just a second. But the glaring needs and deficiencies of this Bears team are on full display right now after 2 weeks. And there were times that Caleb looked great. There were moments. What was it that play with Rome Odunze in the end zone? Rome is going to come down with that, and Caleb's going to even put a better touch on that as the years go on. I believe that. But you're just seeing it, that the offense just isn't clicking. He's overthrowing players. He's holding on to the ball way too long. And I don't think the scheme is right for him. And you know it's frustrating as fans, but you could tell that it's leaking into maybe the team a little bit more specifically on this particular game. Look at how DJ Moore was reacting. One of the most calm, cool, and collected players in all of NFL. And he had a very, very visual reaction. You were seeing it, how he was frustrated out there plenty of times. The entire team was. But I also want to remind everybody, this is a rookie quarterback. There are expectations. We do not only expect certain things from him, we demand them because you're the number one pick. But we have to always have the hindsight or the perspective or just the mindset that it is a rookie who's learning, who's going to go through the league. He's going to see different defenses. He's going to see the difference. They brought it up in the game when you're playing in between the 20s and when you're in the red zone. He's going to feel it when you go on a 2, 3, 4-game losing streak, when you go on a 2, 3, 4-game winning streak, when you're getting hit and not getting calls, when you're missing guys, when the window is close, much more of a smaller window than college, something Justin is learning now and you're seeing in Pittsburgh, but Caleb has to learn that it's not just how open are you, right? And I'm looking at some of the chat, and that's one of the big things too. One of the biggest complaints for Caleb is you got to understand what's NFL open. I believe Caleb is a smart enough player, and I think we are seeing it even from Tennessee to this one, from the Titans to the Texans, that he does learn. He does adapt, and they are trying to teach him, and he is trying to learn. But talent also needs to be involved in this part of it when it comes to your offensive line. And this season, and I believe Lawrence Holmes said it, we have to reevaluate what is this season, because the talent's there to make a playoff push, to try to become a playoff team. But if your offensive line and your rookie quarterback can't carry their part of the deal, is this just a development year, or are you trying to win? Which one is it? That's up to you. If you think this season should be a development for Caleb Williams, just seeing what you see now and what the long-term future you may think of this team may be, or do you think that, hey, you must mass protect, put 3 tight ends, 2 tight ends, and, we'll worry about development as we go along. Get on for the ride. I want to know your thoughts. Let us know. We're on Twitter at Sports Cubicle TV. Make sure you're subscribed to us on YouTube at The Sports Cubicle. Check out the book, Lucha Dog, over at Amazon, amazon.com, Lucha Dog, and luchadog.com. We really appreciate all the support. Make sure you're checking us out on SoundCloud at SoundCloud WCPT 820, and of course, Heartland Signal. We are here breaking down the Chicago Bears. Houston Texans follow it as the Bears fall to 1-1, dropping Sunday Night Football to the Houston Texans, who are now 2-0, 19-13. Caleb Williams, 23 for 37, 174 yards and 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. And quick shout out to the Chicago Bears defense. I mean, look, if you keep the Houston Texans down to 19 points, some of it by their own mistake, right? Because they just didn't play any disciplined football. But I think this Bears defense is top-notch. I don't even know what else to say. Tremaine Edmonds balled out. TJ Edwards, Jaquan Brisker, Kyle Gordon. They were picking on Tyreek Stevenson a little bit. Nico Collins is that dude. That Houston Texans offense is so good. They could do some nasty things. Montez Sweat, I think this might be one of the only games where you don't see him on the score sheet. They really a quiet night for him. Jack Sanborn also, awesome play, awesome playing by him. But, what else can you say about this defense? This defense is ready to win now. And this defense was one play away. I think it was Gordon, right? The interception that was called back. This defense was one score away from winning this game. This Bears offense was one, I don't know, how would you even put it? One cohesive drive away from winning this game. So all that being said, the frustration, the anger, the melancholy, whatever you want to put as a Bears fan, as a viewer, the Bears were in it and could have won it. What does that say about Houston that they played their worst game and they still won? And what does that say about the Bears game where they played their worst game and they were still in it? This is why the NFL is crazy and it's week to week. That is why we don't do this as a necessarily a long-term things. We do the big picture stuff, but week to week, it's just what we see and what we can apply for next week. What we learned from last week, what we saw this week, and how can we apply it to next week? Because the NFL is too volatile to try to be thinking about 12 weeks from now. But shout out to that Bears defense. I think, what else can you say about them? Quick notes, anything else that I hit on? Obviously, the 7 sacks, that's way too much. He was beat up, and I don't know if Caleb's ever been that beat up before. So his body's going to get used to that too, right? His body's going to be like, no, we better get rid of this ball because we never want to feel this again. So let's hope that's the lesson learned. The running game, look at the and lack thereof. And it goes to show how much Justin Fields really covered up for the absolute deficiencies of an offensive line and a running game. I expect more from DeAndre Swift. Caleb Williams should not be the lead rusher on this team because he is not Justin Fields. And you will get this kid killed. You will. And finally, sloppy penalties. I mean, heck, there was punches thrown. So it wasn't the prettiest of games, but looking into the game against the Colts, I think the Colts have a great potential star-studded type of quarterback in Anthony Richardson. All the different things we could say about him to put on him, but I don't think the Colts are that good. The Bears cannot go into this game thinking that they're just going to win this game. I believe they're the underdogs in this game, rightfully so. But you go to Indianapolis, you establish a run game, you protect Justin Fields, you get the ball to your studs, and you play the defense you've been playing, the Bears will walk away out of Indianapolis with the win. But if you play a sloppy game on offense and make one too many mistakes on defense, Anthony Richardson is that dude. He will take a game over, and they will not keep you in it. The Texans played their worst game they're going to play all season. That is why you were in this game, and you have a great defense. There are some quarterbacks, some teams in this league that will keep you in a game because they don't have the talent to beat you, to put their foot on your throat and end it, right? To finish you off. Anthony Richardson's a good enough quarterback to do that. Colts aren't a good enough team necessarily to bet the house on or say they're going to go on a run. But don't mess around. Get right against the Colts. Because this was not a get right. This was a mugging for your quarterback, for your rookie quarterback. But I'm still optimistic on the long-term future of Caleb Williams and this team. But 2 weeks in, it's the same story. Matt Eberflus is on a hot seat, better figure something out, and this offense better scheme its way to protect his quarterback. Otherwise, everybody's on the chopping block, except for Caleb Williams. We want to know your thoughts, though. The Chicago Bears fall to 1-1 after losing to the Houston Texans 19-13 on Sunday Night Football. They now have a date against the Indianapolis Colts in Indianapolis on Sunday, September 22nd at noon. We want to know your thoughts. We're on Twitter at Sports Cubicle TV. Subscribe to us. Leave us a comment. Let us know your thoughts over on YouTube. Watch the video version of this over on YouTube at the Sports Cubicle. Search the Sports Cubicle or Sports from the Couch. Of course, check out the SoundCloud over at WCPT 820 and HeartlandSignal.com for more of the Sports Cubicle. And just search wherever you get your favorite podcast, the Sports Cubicle, Sports from the Couch. Get the merch or the book. Get them all. The holiday season's upon us. If you loved ESPN Noche this past weekend and you want some more of that Mexican Latin flavor, check out the book, Lucha Dog, over at Amazon. Just search Lucha Dog or luchadog.com. Enjoy the rest of your day. Get ready. It is going to be a very interesting week if you're an NFL fan, if you're a Bears fan. Lots of injuries, lots of upsets, lots of things to talk about. So once again, the NFL takes full center stage in the sports world. You've been listening to Sports from the Couch, the Sports Cubicle. The Bears fall to 1-1 after losing to the Houston Texans 19-13. I'm your host, Mike Mercado.